I am creating a Python game tutorial, and here you see an early prototype. At one point I decided to add type hints to the game and immediately found 3 errors without even running the code. Let me show you how type hints act as a pair programmer looking over your shoulder. I stripped the project to the bare minimum. There is the plain image, a renderer class, and main that hooks things up. Notice that main also has a hero class. That is the class that controls the plain sprite. The start round method takes the hero instance and stores it in an attribute. The onDraw method is called by the Piglet framework, and when I execute the code, the plain should show up. And that works. But even with this simple code, a type check could already spot 3 problems. Let me show you. I start with a circular reference. I am using Pyrite, which does not check for import cycles by default, so I enable it by adding pyriteconsfig.json with this entry. Look at the hero class in main. Since main creates the hero instance, this was a good spot to host the class. But now I will add a type hint to the start round method. At this point, there is no type information for hero in the render class. So I annotate hero. The editor now shows the available attributes in hero. But when I execute the code, I will get an error. Main imports the renderer module, and the renderer module imports the main module. Now, the interesting thing is that this code was fine when the renderer used the hero class without knowing its type information. But the type hint requires a reference to the module that contains the hero. This raises a philosophical question. When Python uses the hero object without knowing or checking its type, should we consider it to depend on the module that defines the class? I do not have a clear answer to this question, and if you do, please help me by writing your thoughts in the comments. Back to the error. Now I had to run the program to see the error, but I promised you that type hints would serve as an extra pair of eyes, and they do. Look at this import statement. Pyrite indicates an error, and when I hover over it, I see it is the circular import problem. I can solve the problem easily by moving the hero class to its own module. And the error is gone. As you see, Pyrite warns me that it cannot import from hero. This warning is just lagging behind and it will go away automatically. Notice the onDraw method code. The draw method is called by the Piglet framework, but there is no guarantee that the hero is already assigned. I can simulate this by commenting out the call to start round in main. I execute the code. And boom! Another error. It is even more serious than a null reference exception. The hero attribute is not even available. So I add it. The type checker will understand that the attribute is of type hero, but to create the attribute at runtime, I have to initialize it. Which leads to a new warning. I have to make the type optional. And now I can deal with the initial error. I have 2 options. I can assert that hero must have a value, or I check with an if statement, which is what I will do here. And the type checker recognizes this as a valid solution to check for none. I find it very interesting that both the attribute initialization and none check were potential errors that were spotted just by adding the type hints. Let me show you a last benefit of the type checker. Checking the argument order when calling a function. One of the things that happens to me all the time is that I add parameters to a method like this. And then when I call the method, I forgot the parameter order and sent the arguments in the wrong order. You can already see the problem here, and the type checker tells me exactly what I did wrong. Now compare this to running the program and trying to figure out this error message. Eventually I will find out the problem, but this tooltip is a lot easier to understand. I reverse the arguments and everything works again. The great thing of type hints is that you can start by adding a single hint and see what happens. This way you can gradually supply your codebase with more and more type hints. But watch out! Python will not enforce the type hints at runtime because it uses duck typing. And to see what that is exactly, click on the screen right now and we'll see each other in the next video. There I explain why everyone is always talking about duck typing in Python.